Monica S sent in €5 and says, your predictions with the current conflicts, wars going on, what genres will get popular to escape from reality in TV and movies? So, not necessarily it's not necessarily what's going on in the world that creates the genre. It's actually the financials behind it and the trends that go on. So when we last had massive monetary issues like this with strikes and things like that, and sort of Hollywood in general, it was horror. It was low budget horror. And I did say that for a while. I was like, low budget horror, we're going to get loads of them. I don't know whether the Exorcist Believer will actually put people off doing that now, studios, because they're like sheep. They're like lemmings. They just follow one another. So I'm still erring on the side of low budget horror. I still think low budget horror will be what we predominantly get flooded with, because they're going to need smaller budgets for films moving forwards, and a lot of these other things are too big. So I'm still going to say low budget horror.
But just look at The Nun, for example.
That was loud. Jesus.
Well, he was muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Well, yeah, you just look at your reaction to it. Like The Nun is not too expensive. Just look at the Conjuring movies there. Yeah, low budget horror and mid budget in general is making a comeback, I'm gonna think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah. So your thoughts on this? What do you think is gonna? What genre will get popular?
Well,
to escape from reality.
Yeah, low budget horror and mid budget in general. Mid budget action sci-fi genre. Comic book movies.
Action sci-fi. There you go.
Not so much comic book movies, but maybe a little bit more like post-apocalyptic anime. Now, when you have One Piece showing the world that, hey, if we actually stay true to the source material, what we do to comic book movies when they first took off.
They've already announced another adaptation, so they are going ahead with more now, actually.
Yeah.
So, Culture, what about you, buddy?
Believe it or not, I'm going to stick in the low budget thing. So I think Westerns are going to be making a massive comeback. I don't see that. You know why I don't see that? And I'll say it straight away. It's because right wing's a buzzword and it'll be associated with right wing, and it's too political. I know it's not remotely political. Don't get me wrong. I know it's insane, but I bet you anything it'll be associated with it, with Texans and stuff like this. Not there's anything wrong with Texans. You're a lovely bunch. I was in Texas doing some work. Lovely, lovely, lovely people. But because it's a buzzword, I absolutely do not think it will. 100% don't think it will. I think the fact that Scorsese's, Flower Moon thingy, whatever. I think that
Killers of the Flower Moon, yeah.
Yeah, I think that will show people that
really,
yeah. And again, I mean, it doesn't cost much. Westerns are Westerns are one of the cheapest films to make. But I'm interested because we have a party member here that has not had an opportunity to speak on any subject. He's just waiting in the back, just crying in the back. And I wonder what he thinks. I wonder what he thinks.
Get him in then. Bring him in.
All right, Nick.
Tardy Thursdays now.
Yeah, late. He's always late. And he's dead.
He's dead already.
That's why he's late.
Well, while he's working on getting back to life, I have actually a comment on what you were saying, Culture.
Yeah.
First of all, Westerns, they never truly died. They never went away.
No.
The Western, there's always been like a couple of Westerns at various budget levels every single year. So they've never really been away. As for a proper comeback, I can see one way that's happening. Red Dead Redemption. Redemption theatrical or HBO series or something like that. That would do the trick because that's a brand and that's something that the younger generation is familiar with. Here's like the thing. The reason I think that the Western genre was very popular for many, many years in the mid-19th century is twofold. One, you had the nostalgia factor in the United States of people old enough to remember the period and to share those stories with their children, with the founders, settlers, and everything around the world. You also had the dreams of those that never went to America, but saw like this, the adventurous tales, like
Sort of
this
idyllic,
like
almost
romanticism of conquering new lands and new frontiers. And then that went away as the generations shifted, and you no longer had the romanticism and adventure associated with that. Certainly not as it became something problematic. That is a reason that's going to work against the comeback. So the only way that Westerns can do like a massive comeback right now, I think, is if you tie it to something like Red Dead Redemption.
No, I've got one better for you.
Go for it.
It goes back to what I said. The only way Westerns will make a comeback is if it's from the point of view and perspective of Native Americans. I don't know if that's PC to say, I don't know. Native Americans, and it'll be white man, invader, colonizer bad. I bet you anything that's what it'll be.
And that's
Mate, don't shake your head, that's what it'll be. You know it.
If they do that, they'll kill Westerns forever. See, Hollywood is killed enough as it's going forward.
Hollywood's killing superhero movies at the moment with this junk. Hollywood's killing Star Wars with this junk, one of the biggest brands of all time. You don't think they're going to care about killing Westerns? Oh, culture, please.
I tell you, but well, they're giving people like us. Then they're giving people like us a lot of latitude to solve a lot of the entertainment problems. Because you know what, Mr. H, I know you said you're not ever going to make another film, but I would encourage you to get here to the States and make a Western. Because I think
I'll be busy. I'll be busy doing.
I know you want to make
new career stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I know you want to be a doctor guy, but I'm serious. If you ever chose to do that.
Western would be good fun. I think Westerns can look ultimately Western and the sort of the sort of frontier. It unfortunately does have that. So for whatever reason, it does have that association. Has been associated with the right. I think wrongly so as well. Quite frankly, again, not that right wing's bad. People always say this. There's nothing. There are good pros and cons between both sort of spectrums. Don't want to get into it. But I think they could very well make a comeback, and it could be really, really good. It could be what is needed as that pendulum comes back and swings. But I don't think it's going to, because the only way that it would make that comeback and that pendulum swinging will be through the lens of Native Americans, perhaps, or I don't know. I just can't see it. I can't see them framing. I can't see them doing it justice. Let's put it that way. Strong men. They were strong, hardy men, and they're not. You're not going to get many of them. You're not going to get many of them in stories. There was a movie which dropped several years ago, which was absolutely fantastic, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was True Grit, the remake of True Grit, with the actress who was in Hawkeye. Right. That was fantastic. That was a bloody amazing Western. I guess it is a Western movie. But you can't replicate that over and over and over again, right? You can't just keep doing that. And I think that's actually a true story, if I remember rightly.
Well,
so but you're just not going to, are you? You're just not going to do it.
But I'll point at an example of a quality one, and it starred one of my favorite actors. It was called Bone Tomahawk.
Okay, but that didn't get widespread.
It got a lot of appreciation from people like me and many others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I 100%. We're talking about what's going to be more mainstream, right? That was the question, isn't it? What's going to be mainstream?
Well, again, I think what happens with S. Craig Zahler films and many others is that they suffer from a lack of distribution. And Tom wants to get in here and yell at us.
We already have the Western reinvented. It's called Yellowstone. Come on. 1883 and all those shows have been kicking ass.
Yeah, no, you're right. But we're talking about, is that going to perpetuate into film as well?
Maybe. We'll see if Costner's big epic failure is going to be a big epic failure.
I think it's going to be a big epic failure.
That big epic failure, I think, is going to be a big epic failure.
Oh, dear. Well, there we go. Hopefully we answered your question.